Yep, 0.45. Or you can put a 0 in front of the decimal, that's fine too. So we did percents to decimals. We also did decimals to percents, whereas if we had 0.82, if we would move 2 places to the left to put a percent to a decimal, decimal to percent, we would go back the 2 places, make it 82%. Is it ever anything different than 2 places? It's always 2. So even if you have something like 1.3, 2 places make it 130. Okay? So it's always 2. Don't just take it to the end. A lot of people make a mistake. They see 1.3, they make it 13. That's not the way it is. Always 2. All right? Any questions on the percents to decimals or decimals to percents? This is all in your notes from yesterday, by the way. Fractions as percents. That's where we take a fraction, say 4/5, and in order to put it into a percent, I just need to compare it to another fraction with what as the denominator? 100. Now what we have is one of those proportions that we can set up. First thing we look for is the relationship. Is there one from 5 to 100 times 20? So then 4 times 20 must be 80%. If we had 7/4, don't freak out that it's an improper fraction, right? We would still compare it to another fraction with 100 as the denominator. 4 times what is 100? So then 7 times 25, 175, since that's on top, 175%. Yes, ma'am. Pardon me? Okay, so to get from 4 to 100, I had to multiply by 25. So on the top, I got to do the same thing. So 25 times 7 gives us our 170. Okay, that's what we did. And then I think the final thing was percents as fractions. And the one thing that we need to remember here is they should be in simplest form. So if we took the percent 30%, we want to put it into a fraction. Starting off, I would just take whatever the percent is, in this case 30, put it on top with what is the denominator. What do we just have? What do we just use? 100. Just like over here, I wanted to get this over 100 to tell me what the percent was. Now I'm just going to go the other way and say, okay, I already know what this fraction is. I'm going to put a 100 underneath it. That's not the hard part. You got to make sure to simplify. Therefore, 310. 75%. We're going to start with the 75 over 100. Say, okay, they're both divisible by 5, but they're also divisible by 25. How many quarters is 75 cents? And 4. How does it work with mixed numbers, or percents that are greater than 100? It's not so bad. We're going to take that 120 and put it over what? Just like we did. Anything in common here? So 12 over 10 times the 10 going to 12. 2 left. Can you simplify 1 and 2 10? 1 and 1/5. Right? So it's a lot of skills that you've already acquired. You already know how to do this stuff. So it's just a matter of kind of putting it all together. Let's see, 296. Take a look at 296. Let's work through some of these together. I think we did one of each section already, so I think we're probably good. Let's get to it. Let's take out that worksheet for 6-6. This is going to be one of your all-time favorite worksheets. What do you think that means? Following directions is going to be crucial to your success on this particular assignment. Numbers 1 through 4, write each percent as a decimal and as a fraction in simplest form. Let's do number 1 together. See, I told you you're going to like it already. Number 1, 46%. Okay? So they want a fraction and a decimal. Which one do you want to do? Fraction? 46 over what? Anything I can do with 23 and 50. So there's my fraction. Now, decimal. That's easy. Very good. So make sure you get both of those on that line. Maddie. Because they're both even numbers. I can tell that because that ends in a 6, that ends in a 0. They're both even. I can divide them both by 2. 46 divided by 2 is 23. 100 divided by 2 is 50. Shauna?
So anytime it's even, you divide by
2. You can divide by 2 if they're both even, yeah. Absolutely. You may have to divide by 2 again. It's not going to solve every problem you have, but it's a start. It's a start. Okay? Number 2 is easy.
No.
All right, 5 through 8. Write each decimal as a percent and as a fraction in simplest form. So let's do number 5, because they're looking for 2 parts again. So which one do you want to do first? Percent or fraction?
Fraction. Proceeding. But that's easy.
Doesn't matter what order we take it. Fraction. Oh. This is fine. Here's what you want to do, though. Here's my recommendation. I wouldn't do fraction first. Because why? Let's put it into a percent. What is 0.02 as a percent? Okay, 2%. Now, once I've established that percent, it's going to make it easier for me to put it into a fraction. Because since it's a percent, that 2 goes over 100, which is... Now, you can do the fraction first if you know your place values. If you can look at this, give it its proper name. What is its proper name besides just calling it 0.02? 2 hundredths. 2 hundredths. Put it into a fraction. Would work the same way. I think that this is probably easier just to convert this to a percent. Put whatever it is as a percent over 100, simplify. But however way you want to go, it'll work either way. But just make sure you get both down. Because already we've gone through 8 problems and we've got 16 points so far on this. So it's 2 points each. And number 9. Write each fraction as a decimal and a percent. I know. It's like the Noah's Ark of worksheets, isn't it? Do you get it? Do you get it? No, the Noah's Ark?
Yeah.
How?
Now what part?
Everything comes in.
2.
Yeah, see?
Oh.
See how I incorporate religion into the math? Hear that? Religion into math.
Me? I thought it too. I thought he said Noah's Ark.
Because in weather like this is what you think of as Noah's Ark, the water park. Okay, let's move on. So here for this section, 9 through 12, decimal and a percent. What I would do again is I would put it into a percent first. So let's do that. Compare it to another fraction over 100, because what I get on top is going to be my percent. 5 times 20, 3 times 20. There's my 60%. That's one of my answers. That's your percent. And then, as a decimal, once I've established that I've got 60% as my percent, the decimal is going to be 0.6. Or 0.60 is also acceptable. Okay, it's fine too. But for the last two sections, I would probably convert to percent first, then get the fraction, then get the decimal like you do for 9 through 12. So, 12 problems so far. 12 times 2. You're sharp enough to get this done. See, 12 times 2. Oh, no. I mean, yes, but that's not it. We are doing 1 through 12. But now the table shows the fraction of students who participate in extracurricular activities from 1965 to 2000. Complete the table by writing each fraction as a percent. This is nothing. So 16, or 3/4 for 1965. They're all fractions. You're just putting them into percents. I do that by comparing that fraction to another fraction with what as the denominator. There we go. No. 4 times 25, 3 times 25. You can go ahead and put 75% right in there for that, right underneath that 3/4. And some of those you should be able to look at. Like 8/10, you don't know what percent that is? What is it? 80, you said? Good. Oh, you said 8. Now, here's the main event, though. All this whole sheet builds up to the bottom portion, which is like the best. Yeah, so write each fraction or decimal as a percent. Write the percent without the percent sign in the puzzle. So how many of you know how to do crossword puzzles? Not with math. It's no different. What do you know about a crossword puzzle and the way the words fit with each other? Sarah?
They like fit.
What if you spell a word wrong? It's possible you could mess everything else up. So, the numbers are kind of like the words. Just like letters have to go in the right place in words, the digits have to go in the right place for your numbers, otherwise you can mess things up. Yes? Well, good thing for you, this isn't that bad. So here, let's look at across. Number 1. Cross number 1 says 3/5. We're going to put the fractions and decimals into percents. We're converting all these to percents. So, for number 1 across, to get from 5 to 100 is times 20. 3 times 20 makes it 60%. So, you find 1. There should be 2 boxes. Right there. Put in a 6, 0. You're not putting the percent sign, because there's no room for it. You're just going to put the 60. That's going to represent 60%. All right? Then you also know what? If you know that 1 across is 60, You also know that 1 down is going to be 60 something, right? 60 something. Because down, 1 down, is what, 13 over 20? So we can take care of that one right away if you want. Times 5, 13 times 5, that's a 65. So 1 down, I would recommend that you work through the bottom portion with a pencil.